Did anybody ever question whether or not you were telling the truth?
No. And I think it was because I had been so detailed and specific about those magazines. I really don't think, and my mom had never told my dad about that. That was just, it was between us, and she had never told him. But, of course, it all came out then. But I think it was because I had done that when I was 8 that gave her the ability to believe that that could have happened. Because nobody wants to believe that about, I wouldn't want to believe that my brother had done
Right.
something like that. And, but because it is history and just, it wasn't such a far fetched thing to believe. And so after that, we didn't speak about it. I didn't go to counseling. I Nothing. We just did not talk about it anymore. And so because I didn't deal with it in a healthy way and I didn't have anyone to talk to, I didn't have any support, it led me to have a warped understanding of what male female relationships should be. And so it led me to a promiscuous life when I began dating, because in my mind, that's what love was. Love had to be physical, it couldn't just be a feeling or words or talking, or it had to be something else. And so um, it led to, it warped everything. It just, it, and it kept me bound in that distorted lifestyle because I didn't have anybody to talk to, and we just didn't. But this was back in the 80s. You didn't talk about stuff like that. Things like that were not, those were very hush hush. That was, you swept all of that under the rug. There was, all of those kind of things were going on in churches all over the country, people dealing with it, people on, pastors and board members, church leaders, and children being abused and all that, but everything was pushed under the rug because it was so taboo to talk about. Nobody wanted to deal with it, and so you have a whole generation
Yeah.
of boys
That's
and
the
girls.
enemy. That's the
Yeah,
enemy.
absolutely. There's a whole generation of us that grew up with very distorted views, not only of sexuality, but of ourselves and of God, and it's so important to have healthy discussions in our churches and with our students and with our in our adult ministries about what those how the enemy uses those things to really separate
Yes.
ourselves from the Lord.
See, that's one thing that I'm really is on my heart to try to encourage people to get up off the pew and do something for the kingdom.
Yep,
And,
absolutely.
I know that trauma that they've experienced in their life a lot of times keeps people from doing that.
It does.
But, you're a good example of it's not an excuse.
Mm-mm.
It is an excuse, but it's not a good excuse. And it's, it's horrible to even think about. It's horrible to even consider that that happens.
Mhm.
And but it does. A
It
lot
does.
more than I mean, like you said, 1 in every 5 and 1 in girls and 1 in every 7 in boys.
Mhm.
I mean, that's a lot of people.
It is a lot of people.
And that's how many people are dealing with that trauma without it. That's with situations, cases that are reported.
Exactly.
Imagine how many people are going through that and not reporting it, hadn't reported it. Your situation was kind of unique in a way.